Hello everyone! I am Alice of KHR Arts and Cloud Orchid Publishing, and today we are going to talk about my big 3 book projects for 2026. So while I have already done a video detailing my goals for 2026, and I did touch upon these things in that video, I kind of wanted to go over them in more detail and also give a bit of a status update on these 3 big projects. So in addition to all of the 8,000 million things that I do in my daily life, all the other projects I have going on, I also have 3 big book projects. The first one being my Love of the Sea audiobook. This one is a project that has been absolutely a long time coming. I finally finished it in August of 2025, and I was just so glad to be finally done with it, y'all, because oh boy, was it a ton of work. I originally started working on it in 2019, and I just did not have the equipment for it. I did not know what I was doing. It was just not the right time or place to do it. So I ended up scrapping all those recordings that I did on literally my iPhone with no sense of even how I'm going to edit that audio or anything. Like it was disaster. So I ended up scrapping all of those audio files that I recorded because honestly they were junk. And in 2024, I sat down and I recorded all 36 chapters of my first novel, Love of the Sea. And then in 2025, I then spent those 8 months editing all of the audio for all 36 of those chapters. And yes, I did all of the voices for all of the characters, y'all. It was a lot. It was so much a lot, and it really hurt my voice to do all of those different characters. But I did it, and I'm very proud of the work that I did. And I also learned a lot along the way, and I've also learned a lot about voice acting and sound editing with all of the stuff that I've been doing with Neil in the past, as well as our current project with the Alice files and doing voice acting and sound editing for that. It's only going to get better from here, y'all. So I'm really excited to finally be in the thick of transforming all of my novels into audiobooks. This has been a long time coming. It is a constant request that I get online and at events if my books are available as audiobooks. And I wanted to make sure that I did it in-house, that I did it myself, because one, I unfortunately don't have the finances to hire other voice actors to record these for me. I don't have the finances to invest in a recording studio or a professional sound editor, so I'm doing it all. But on the flip side of that, I didn't want to cheap out and just have that text to voice, computer voice thing, and God forbid, I will never use AI. That was absolutely not going to happen, especially because it just sounds terrible. I'm sorry, it just does. It sounds terrible. It doesn't know where to put the inflection. It doesn't know where to put emotion. There is no emotion, honestly, but yeah, I digress. I really wanted to make sure that I did it in-house and did it to the best of my abilities, and it's only going to get better from here, y'all, because as I say, with every project that you do, you're constantly learning so that each project after that is even better. That is the correct way to move forward as a creative. So you're probably asking, where are we at with that and why isn't it out yet? Well, I am currently waiting on the cover art. My friend Rhiannon, she is the one who did the cover art for my novel, Succumb to Darkness. She's amazing. She's an amazing author and artist, y'all. And I can't wait to show y'all the cover. It is, I would say, 2/3 done. It looks gorgeous thus far. I know it's going to be absolutely stunning once it's done. And then once that's done, I'll be able to put everything together, and I'll also have to do trial by fire with Audible. We're all learning things, putting all that together, and then I will finally be able to release that for y'all. It'll be so amazing. I am also grateful that my publisher, Inksmith Publishing, is really giving me free reign with this. And yeah, it is going to be such a great re-release of Love of the Sea in general. We are going to use that new cover across the board for the audiobook and the existing books. So new cover, gonna be gorgeous. It's going to be basically what I originally envisioned. So really excited about that. So that is book project number 1. We are so close to the finish line, y'all, just chomping at the bit here. Which then leads me to book number 2, which is my upcoming novel, Be Mine. This is, I call it my alphabet book because it's an LGBTQ, BDSM, LMNOP. Depending on how much spice you like, romance or erotica, take your pick, spin the wheel. It's very spicy. I will say that. It's very spicy. It's very much the main love interest is stuck between a rock and a hard place. She's being pulled in all directions. Who will she choose? All of that. And everybody learns lessons along the way. And the main lesson of the story is what a good, healthy relationship looks like versus what a toxic relationship looks like, and how you can fall into a toxic relationship and how that can kind of escalate and stuff like that, and then how to get out of it and the aftermath and all of that. And what are we waiting for on that? Well, I've completely finished that novel, completely done so, all the writing, all the editing, all the everything, beautiful, tied up with a little bow, done. We are waiting on the cover art right now. Funny enough, I also commissioned Rhiannon to do the cover art for that particular novel because of the vision that I have for that cover art. I can't imagine anybody else but her doing it, so it's obviously first she has to finish the cover art for Love of the Sea before she can even begin working on the cover art for Be Mine. And once we get the cover art done for that, then I'll be able to send all of that, the manuscript and the cover art, off to the layout artist, and they will take it, make it into a book, and then I will be able to share it with y'all, all the goodness, all the everything. So that's also kind of waiting in the wings. We're waiting on stuff outside of our control, which, you know, of course, Captain Control Freak me is just I trust her. She always does amazing work. It's going to be amazing, y'all. I cannot wait to release this novel. I really hope that y'all enjoy it. In the meantime, while we're waiting on these two projects to be done, I am, of course, full steam ahead with my next novel. And we're currently in the writing phase, but it's not exactly a traditional writing phase for a novel because this particular novel is book 1 of a 13-book fantasy series. And I know that many of y'all are thinking, wow, that's really ambitious, and also, wow, 13, that's such a specific number. Why did you decide on 13? Well, that's because all 13 books are already written. The problem is that the manuscripts are so old. I need to take them and I need to bring them up to speed. And so that's what I've been doing. So book 1. I finished writing book 1 when I was like in high school. And I finished book 13 when I was like in college. So there's a massive gap of time. And just to give y'all like some idea of that, like we're talking book 1 was when I was like 15, 16 years old, and I am now 37. So we gotta bring that baby up to speed, y'all. And oh boy do we. When I was originally looking over the original manuscript to like get my bearings, like, all right, here we go. Like I was just laughing at how bad the writing was. And like in general, the writing's not like bad. It's more so compared to my writing now as a 37-year-old person. The writing is bad. And also the manuscript was like laughably short. Basically, it's the whole storyline is there. I don't need to change anything with the plot. I don't need to change anything with where the story is going, which makes this writing process so much easier because I don't need to like invent anything. I don't need to ask myself, what are the characters going to do? Where are they going? Blah, blah, blah. I already know. I already know everything from beginning to end. It's just fleshing it out, adding in scenes, really bringing it to its full potential is what I've been doing. And I've been having so much fun with that. And I just feel like childhood me would have been so thrilled to pieces with where this book is going with the writing that I'm doing, and just getting so excited about these scenes that I am creating to really flesh out this story. And I know y'all are probably like, you're being so vague, tell us about it. I can't. I've mentioned that in some previous videos, but unfortunately, this book needs to be NDA until the manuscript, the written manuscript, is done. And I reserve the copyright for it. And once I do that, then I can tell you all about it. I'm bursting to tell you about it because it is, oh, it's so good. It's so good. But I can't. I have to wait until I secure that copyright. And then, you know, once I start illustrating, I'll be able to tell y'all about it. I'll be able to share the illustrations with y'all, but I need to secure that copyright because y'all, this book, I had a story that was like adjacent to this book, and that story idea got stolen. We're talking everything about that IP stolen. It was heartbreaking, y'all. It was absolutely heartbreaking. And because this IP is so like in that same realm, I'm like, no, we can't take that risk again. We absolutely cannot take that risk again. So I gotta have it locked down. I gotta protect this IP because this is my magnum opus, y'all. This is the crown jewel of my career. This is my everything. You know, this is the book series for my writing career, and I need to make sure that I take every step as carefully and correctly as possible with it. So I just hope that y'all will just, bear with me while I have to be vague, but hang in there because it's an amazing story and I cannot wait to share it with y'all. But I am right now just in the thick of writing it, having so much fun with it, just exploring some of these scenes, just being like, oh my God, like I didn't even know this is where I could go with this. Just, it's going to be so beautiful. I've also been here and there working on some of the illustrations just for funsies on the side, and I'm just having a blast with drawing stuff for this story. It is going to be similar to Geisha Hands in that it will be a full color illustrated novel. So what that means is it will be like a regular novel, regular book, full, all the text, all the pages, everything. There will be pages where there will be a full color illustration. Unlike Geisha Hands, there's not going to be a glossary. There's not going to be any sort of translations. There's not going to be any sort of educational aspect to it. These drawings are going to be purely just, here is a rendition of the scene for what's going on in the story right now. Here's a visual for you so that you can fully experience what is going on in this book. And so that is also part of the reason why I have waited this long to begin actually working on this series in terms of putting it on my work table with the once we finish this, we're going to send it off for publication kind of mentality, not just la la la, I'm playing with it and I'm having a fun time. You don't do your magnum opus as book one of the first book that you ever publish, baby's first book. You don't do that. You don't do that. That's ridiculous because you don't know what you don't know. I wanted to make sure that I really understood working as an author, working in the publishing industry, really taking my time figuring out how all of this works and how to go about this in the smartest way possible. And doing all of that has enabled me to make some very smart choices with what I want to do with this book. The first one being, this is not going to be traditionally published. I'm not going to send this off to a publisher. The number one reason being the same reason as Geisha Hands is they're not going to publish a book with full color illustrations. It's just too much of a cost. It's too much of a risk. They're not going to want to take that on. So that right there is a strike against it. But two, I want to retain creative control over this story. I have seen too many horror stories about people who have published under publishers, and we're not even talking about Vanity Press or scams or anything like that, honest to goodness real publishers, but just a series of unfortunate events and people lose control of their story and it just goes into publication purgatory and then they have no access to their story. They can't sell their story. It's just poof, gone, goodbye, and they legally can't do anything about it. It's terrible. One such instance is my partner, Neil. Unfortunately, his publisher literally died. The dude that owned the publishing house died. RIP, dead. Then the publishing house got bought by another publisher. And then they went under. And then that publisher got bought by another publisher, which is its current publisher right now. But those years, y'all, okay? Years. All of his books under that publishing house, the original one, were in limbo. The physical copies that he had, that was it. It was pretty much, that was all he had, and he couldn't order new ones for conventions and stuff. That was all he had, was what he had on hand, and it sucked. And not only that, he couldn't sell any new ones online because they weren't available online because of all the legal hoopla, and also the publishers had no idea what they were doing. There's, we acquired this thing, now what? And it's only recently, it was late last year in 2025 that he was finally able to actually start promoting and selling his books again because they were finally out of purgatory and up online and available and all that. And I don't want that to happen. New Fear Unlocked, goodness gracious. And just all of the other horror stories that I've seen. And then also the fact that it's I am Captain Control Freak and I realize this and I'm you know what? No. I need to have full creative control over my works, and the best way to do that is to just publish them myself. And I have the perfect means for doing that with Cloud Orchid Publishing. It is a real publishing house that me and my friend Brian built together. It's not just a name that I slapped on as a self-published author, which there's nothing wrong with doing that, in that it is an honest to goodness publishing house that I built with me and Brian. We have published other authors alongside my work under that publishing house. We just kind of realized, since we're a duo, it's just me and Brian, we don't really have the manpower to handle publishing outside authors, that we just kind of put the kibosh on that with, we're just going to focus on publishing my stuff, and if we're able to grow bigger in the future and handle publishing other people's stuff, then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But right now it's just too much for the both of us to handle. It's, let's just keep it small. And having all this prior experience with publishing, with everything that goes into publishing a book, everything with the industry, with my skills with marketing and social media, and then also the fact that I can write, edit, and illustrate all of my own works is just a slam dunk. And yes, I do bring on other people. I don't just do this in a vacuum. I have an editor, I have beta readers that look over my stuff, but at the end of the day, I'm doing like 90% of the work all by myself. So it's a lot, and that's a big part of why these projects take so long and why there's so much behind the scenes work that y'all don't get to see. So that's why it kind of feels like all of a sudden these books come out of nowhere and it's just like, oh my god, is because there's so much build up behind the scenes. And that's kind of how this book is going to be, because it's going to be both the written manuscript and all the illustrations. And I'm very ambitious with the number of illustrations I want to do for book one and all the books going forward. And those illustrations take a long time, y'all. Like, my illustrations on average take between 10 and 30 hours to complete, depending on how big and detailed they are. And these are going to be really detailed, so it's going to be a lot, but it's okay. It's going to be a labor of love. That's basically where we're at with these three big projects. And going beyond book one of this fantasy series is a little bit of a question mark. Like, I know the trajectory of where we're going to go after that, because I do have this routine of romance novel, fantasy novel, romance novel, da 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 da. And so it's going to be another romance novel after this book. I just haven't decided which one I want to do yet. I'm either going to do the sequel to Freya's Baby, which will be Learning to Walk, or I am going to do a sci-fi romance idea that I have called Clover Companion. And I know that I do have some fans that are very excited about Clover Companion and would love for me to pick that. It's very much going to be what's taking my attention at the time. That's really what's going to be the deciding factor. So it'll be one of the two. And I go into more detail about that in one of my previous videos about my three current romance novels and where that whole arena is going. But these are the three big projects that I've got on my work table, and it's very much going to feel like, they're all just going to be blah, out in the universe kind of all at once. There's so much work going on behind the scenes, so much lead up, so can't wait to share that with y'all. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a like, and if you're new, subscribe. All right, y'all, thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.